Noah Fifita looks to continue his run of elite quarterback play against a Baylor defense that is honestly Swiss cheese. And plus, it's a very special night for Arizona women's basketball, and we have a very special guest to talk about that off top of the show. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. I am Damon Fairall, otherwise known as Damon Dog. That's my guy, Kevin Thomas, known as Kevo Post on the Twitter streets. And, of course, we have Erika Day right around the corner here to talk a little bit of Arizona women's basketball on a happy Friday. We are, of course, presented by our fine friends over at Branded Bills, the premium headwear and apparel in the game. Check out that campus collection for yourself. The best Arizona Wildcats headwear that they have out there. I got one on my head right now. Good cactus logo on the back. Maybe I'll flip it around at some point in this episode. But check out that collection, brandedbills.com, promo code BBPHNX, 15% off your first order. Kevin, before we grab Erika and get her in here, how's your Friday going so far, my guy?
Going good, going great. Arizona football plays tomorrow for real this time. I have the date right, actually, so I'm happy about that. And I'm excited to see the first game in Casino del Sol Stadium as well.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that game, we do have Arie McDonald night tonight with Arizona women's basketball. So without further ado, we do welcome in the one, the only, Erika Day. How are we doing, Erika?
I'm feeling jazzed. You guys already know I saw a wicked movie last night, and now it's Arie McDonald Day today. It's a great day to be Erika. You know, I have to be honest. As I know you guys are obviously, you've probably got some questions queued up for me, which is cool. I'm excited, but I'm gonna just address some elephants in the room off the rip here, okay? First and foremost, watching Becky Burke and the squad lose that exhibition game was just as painful for me as it was for all of you. That said, the one thing about this team I want to just make sure is very, very clear is that they get better. After the game, after they go to practice, they get better. And I know Arizona women's basketball fans aren't exactly used to that, but they improve. When they take a week off, a whole 7 days of rest, no game time, they get better. They know more about the system. They understand the scheme better. They execute at a higher level. Yeah, sip that tea because it's worth sipping in this situation. I can't express enough to you how much it means to me to watch that team specifically improve after 5 games. I'm including the two exhibition games in there, and they lost the first one. Again, pain, suffering. And I'm glad everybody roasted me and the team and all the things because now I've got bookmarks saved. Because when they don't finish 15th, 16th in the Big 12, I'm gonna come back and I'm going to rip you guys a new one. But that's okay. I just want to make it very clear that they get better and they are coachable. They're moldable players that listen to coaching critique, and it's just something that, oh my gosh, is it refreshing. It feels like a whole new day here in the Arizona women's basketball fan club, which is led by obviously myself.
I mean, no pun intended there. Brand new day. That's what we're going with.
Wow.
But of course, Erika, what that preseason game, you talk about the improvement. The preseason game was obviously a kind of a stain on the beginning of the season. I think it lowered expectations for a lot of maybe more casual fans in the women's basketball fan base who are not as up to date with the ins and outs. What have you seen specifically that has changed from that exhibition loss to a Division II team to getting a 3-0 start here on the real season?
And not to be too obvious, but the fact that Becky Burke took Michaela Purdue out of the starting lineup after that game because she saw and she wasn't happy with the product that Mickey was putting on the floor. That in itself, right there, off rip, it shows that she's willing to do whatever it takes to put the team in a position for success. And Mickey still played big minutes even when she wasn't starting, but she sent a message to not only Mickey Purdue but also the entire rest of the roster to let them know, hey, if you're not on your P's and Q's, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to sit you on the bench. And I think that that message was very important because to most of these players, with the exception of Lonnie Cornfield, all of these players are new to the system. They don't understand what it's like to play for Becky. And I think that's a big thing that Becky's kind of talked about. It's not just that the players haven't been used to Becky, it's been that the coaching staff isn't used to the coaching staff. The coaching staff isn't used to being in McHale, you know? So it's all of these things that compounded in that first loss. And it stung. But at the same time, they came back. They knew. I think when you watched that first game, obviously you guys couldn't watch because it wasn't on ESPN Plus. Sorry about that. That stinks. But if you were there and you would have seen what I saw, it was a lot of them not knowing where the other players were going to be, them not knowing exactly what play they were supposed to be executing at that exact time. Again, now they are executing at a much higher level. The passing from we'll just start with Lonnie Cornfield. Lonnie Cornfield is a heck of a point guard. And she's leading the nation in assists per game with 10.8 right now. And I would imagine she's going to be referred to as the double double merchant this year because she's going to be dishing them things out this year, man. And she knows how to get her own bucket, but she's not going to seek it out first. And I think that's what entices me the most about her is now Arizona has a true point guard that is willing to do anything to put her teammates in position for success. And you've seen Lonnie kind of come into comfortability with everyone else around her, and I think that that's been super, super important. Denia Trammell. I'm sorry if I'm saying any of your guys' names wrong, 'cause this will be the first time I'm saying a lot of your guys' name live on the air. Denia, man, that girl is a hooper, capital HOOPER. Okay. You want to talk about fours, run women's basketball? Yeah, yeah, they do. They do here at Arizona women's basketball because Denia is her. They might have her listed as a true center, whatever, but no, she's a four. And if you don't think so, just ask me. I'll tell you she's a four, and she plays it well. She's going to have some stiff competition in the Big 12, but that being said, like right now, as they play 14 home games in their non-conference schedule, and they're all against NAU or lesser than teams, and that's not really me trying to be an a-hole to those other teams. It's just the reality of the matter right now. You hope that a team of this nature where they haven't played with each other, they have borderline no chemistry, and they're just kind of learning. You hope that those 14 games are enough to put them in position to where they aren't going to feel like their backs are against the wall all season long in the Big 12, because the Big 12 is going to be a difficult conference this season. I mean, argue with the wall. The Big 12 is number two best women's basketball conference in the country right now. So, yeah, I just think that they've really gotten a lot more comfortable with each other. And above all else, Becky found players to give minutes to and found moments of opportunity, and those players took advantages of those opportunities, and they've earned even more minutes, and they've looked fantastic in those minutes that they've earned.
You kind of talk about all the new faces. You kind of reference some of them there. Of the new players, right? What are some of maybe the lesser talked about coming into the season and the preseason players that you've seen on the court so far this year having an impact, and who are some players that maybe need some more love on this team so far through 3 games?
Well, I want to talk about Tanwell Welch, and I'm gonna call her T because that's what I hear through the grapevine is T T T T. So T T, my girl T. Listen, my Memphis, transfer student. Go Tigers, go! But also all the way go to the Bear down. You know what I mean? And she was missing for her first couple of games due to injury, and she wasn't necessarily injured, but she was coming off an injury, and Becky said it plainly: if you don't practice, you don't play, and that I love that because it goes into what I'm talking about in terms of chemistry and having cohesion with players. Like you have to have that in a system that they're trying to play in. They want to play fast. They want to play pass first basketball. And so in order to do that, you have to know where everybody's going to be on the court. And with that, last week when they played their third game against, Grambling, T had to play some more minutes because there was some foul trouble and some just things like that that kind of made it to where she had to play more minutes in place of Lonnie Cornfield. And to be honest with you, she looked freaking fantastic out there. She could score the ball from anywhere on the court, and she is willing to pass as well. So she's not necessarily like a true point guard in the same sense of Lonnie Cornfield, but she is definitely a powerhouse in terms of getting to her spots and scoring the basketball. I'm going to go back to Denia. Let me tell you something. If Arizona women's basketball surprises anybody, it will be because of how freaking fantastic Denia is. Denia is she's done the Kate Reese stompage a few times, and I'm like, wow, did you even watch basketball at that time? Are you old enough to know who that is? But still, like she's out there and she's posting up, and she's she's not the biggest player on the court, but she is going to make her presence known in the paint, and that has been absolutely really fun to see. The other one I'm going to give a quick shout out to, Blessing out of bio. I hear we're calling her Addie. Addie. Again, same thing as T. Didn't get a whole lot of minutes or didn't get any minutes in the first few games of the season. Also, same thing due to injury. She got here later than everybody else. Blah blah blah. Came in the game versus Grambling due to foul trouble with the other post players. Literally the first 10 seconds on the court, she gets the nastiest block I've seen in McHale at a women's basketball game in the last 2 years. Like I can't express that enough. Nastiest I've seen since I don't even know who was here. So she just is a presence that will be felt, and she is someone who's earning more minutes as we go. Like I said, Becky's not going to play anyone who isn't practicing, and so the fact that she got that opportunity with those minutes is kind of like by happenstance. I do believe she earned a fair spot in the rotation, but Becky isn't going to play players that aren't fitting in the system, isn't doing what they need to be doing to put the team in a position for success. And all the players I just talked about are always going to be able to do team first, we need to win mentality. And it's just, boy, is that refreshing, guys.
When you look at, you talk about refreshing, right? The vibes that Becky Burke has brought to Arizona women's basketball. And this, I want to ask you this because now we've seen 3 games, and I think we have a little bit of a sample size as to what the fan support under Becky Burke could look like for this season. Have you been surprised by the fan support? Are you not surprised by the fan support? Where are you at? What are the vibes in the bowl of McHale on just offside of the court?
I'll be blunt. I was very happily surprised at the crowd I saw. I think, you know, oftentimes, like in the position that we are in, we oftentimes take like the minority opinion that is just the loudest, and we're like, oh, that's probably everybody, right? You heard quite a few people that were quite loud about the fact that they were going to cancel their season tickets, but I think you can triple that number in terms of people who renewed their season tickets and maybe even some new, fresh faces. And I think as the team goes on, like you have Ari McDonald coming back to town tonight. I would imagine tonight is going to be packed. I hope tonight is packed. I think it's hilarious that another team, maybe closer to you guys, is using a petting zoo to get more people in to the building. And meanwhile, we're bringing a WNBA talent. But that's neither here nor there. Go pet a goat, I guess, if you want to, or you could watch a goat who plays basketball. Do whatever you want. But yeah, I think that the fan support has been more than I was expecting. I think that the Becky Burke radio show is going to be a hoot and a holler because that lady she's just, she's a powerhouse when she talks. Becky is someone you want to listen to. And I think fans have heard her loud and clear in terms of exactly what product they can expect to see on the floor. Obviously, no one wants to lose in an exhibition game to a D2 school. And like, I'm sure all women's basketball season ticket holders were probably watching. I bet Damon's parents were even like, what the heck is going on? Like, do we cancel? Like, what do we just book a trip out of state for every one of these games just so we have an excuse to not be there? Like, what do we do? But I think if you ask them now, they would probably tell you they don't regret continuing to support this team because Becky has put a fun product on the floor night after night after night. And again, if they're improving, not much more you can ask for from a team that has played no more than 5 games together. So I think it's been refreshing to see not only the players pour into the program, but also to watch the fan support pour back in. Obviously, there was a lot of transition. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, it was a tough couple of months to be an Arizona women's basketball fan simply because of all of the transition going on. But I think when you keep Montea, you have Sam Thomas at your introductory presser, and then on top of it, now you're bringing the GOAT of all goats in terms of Arizona women's basketball, Ari McDonald. You're bringing her back. Like, yeah, like how can you mess with Becky now? So I think that the fan support has been great. I think it's going to continue to improve. I hope when Big 12 play comes that the students start to show up a little bit. That's not an attack on the student section. Okay, don't take it for what it's not. It's just that the student section has looked a little light, other than last week when the volleyball team came. Shout out to the women's volleyball team.
Well, obviously tonight means everything, Erika, because we have ourselves an in-state rivalry on the agenda here, and the Lumberjacks bested us twice in one season. Completely unacceptable, right? We could, contextualize and bring a ton of excuses to the table as to why those losses happened. NAU was a good squad last year, for sure. But things have changed, right? And now I think it would be pretty disheartening to lose this game again and give a 3-game losing streak to a little brother like that, little sister, I guess, in women's athletics to NAU. How do you see this game going tonight? And do you think Arizona has a good chance here of getting the W?
I think the great news about tonight's game is that last year's both games were contextually much different. Arizona, with under Adia Barnes, was building a team. They had, they're starting a group of core sophomores, if that's what you want to call the squad from last year, and NAU was a squad full of seniors, fifth years, or players that have been there since their start of college, and they had cohesion on their side. They also had especially when you get down to the WBIT tournament, like the fact that Jada Williams didn't play in the game and she was the heartbeat of the team last year. Let's not lie about it. I think that contextually, this team, first of all, doesn't just have one heartbeat. Yeah, you notice when Lonnie Cornfield isn't playing, but at the same time, like T can step up, Samaya can handle the ball, and you're not going to worry about a bunch of turnovers. Like the there are people to fill in for others that aren't going to hurt you in terms of your chances of winning this basketball game. To your point, Damon, it would absolutely disgust me if Arizona loses this game. I'm not gonna lie. At the position that they are at right now, plus the fact that NAU is 1-4, I think I saw, versus the only team they've beat is Emory Metal. Like, no, 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 they cannot lose. To quote my good pal and co-host Stephen Prayer John Garner, it's not a must win, but it is a gotta have it, bro. Because what are we doing here if we lose it? So I expect that their star Naomi White, she scores the ball at a high rate. I expect them to cover her well, and I expect Lonnie Cornfield to be the one in charge of covering her well. She's an elite on-ball defender and has just really great hands in terms of like seeking out the basketball. So I hope it's an Arizona dub. I know you guys didn't ask for a number prediction, but I'm gonna give one anyways because that's what I do on this show is do whatever I want. So the last 3 games, Arizona 62 points, 75 points, 85 points. I don't think they're gonna quite put up 85, but I think if they could put up 75 and keep NAU down to like 55 to 60, it would be a stellar showing for the Cats. NAU's got a new coach, all new team. I think, you don't want to let them come into your house on Ari McDonald night of all nights, by the way, and get the dub. Absolutely freaking not. Do you guys think she's gonna bring Caitlin Clark with her though? Really quick. Do you think she's gonna bring
that'd
Caitlin
be
Clark?
fire. You texted me about it, and I said, I'm all for it. That's content. That's content. That's content.
Oh my God. Caitlin Clark shows up to Arizona Wildcats game to support Fever teammate. 7 million views on Twitter. Like, Kevin and I are getting a raise if Caitlin Clark shows up for the game tonight. So please, Caitlin. Please.
Whoa. I just like forgot about the circuits, guys.
We'll take care of you, Erika. We'll make sure we trickle it down and take care of everybody that's associated with this podcast. But please, Caitlin, we're begging.
Can't even get a s'mores cookie, and now you guys are robbing me of my views. This hurts. This hurts, man.
S'mores cookie inbound, I promise. But we did a little bit of looking ahead to tonight's game. But I'd be messing up. I would not be doing my job to not ask you about the other team in this state that's kind of making some noise right now. How excited are you for the game between Arizona and Arizona State this year, considering it seems like both teams under new leadership, maybe in a new era for both teams? It seems like an exciting matchup. Are you on the same page there?
I am. I think it is going to be absolutely exciting. I think that Molly Miller built herself a squad of buy-in, and I think that that's not something that can be undersold in this day and age of like NIL and all of that. Like, it's really hard to get kids to buy in on just the process of what you're trying to build. And I think Molly Miller is more than capable and has done just that at ASU. That said, I'm looking for a competitive game. I feel like over the last couple of years, it's been one-sided. Even last year, when Arizona was arguably not very good, I think that they still absolutely squabber knockered my good squad over at in Tempe. So I hope for a little bit more of a competitive matchup. If I'm entirely honest with you, I would love for the in-state rivalry to be just that, like a true in-state fun rivalry where like we're going back and forth in terms of the count. I want to, in the same way that Glenn dukes it out about nonsense with ASU, I want to duke it out in nonsense about ASU. But I feel like why would I insert myself in that conversation? Like in men's basketball, it's not competitive, and then in women's basketball, it hasn't been competitive. So I'm not going to insert myself where I don't need to be inserted. I would love to insert myself though. So
Yeah,
please make it competitive, guys.
yeah. I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I mean, I'm looking at ASU's schedule right now. Like they obviously have had a good start. They beat Coppin State by 14 first game, crushed Eastern Washington and San Diego after that, and then they played a 5-point game with Santa Clara on the road. And so they're not an unbeatable team either. Like there's some cracks there as well. And yeah, I mean it's
Unfortunately, them beating USC in a little secret preseason scrimmage was enough to send me over the edge as someone who literally watched their team lose to a D2 team. Yeah, it was a tough time to be Erika, but
those are
Becky
very
Burke has made
opposite
up for it.
spectrum.
Yeah, it's terrible, and the side of the spectrum I was on was not the fun side. So
Well, we also have to talk about our other friend. And Erika, you've already implied a lot of stuff, I think, about our former coach, Adia Barnes, in terms of how this team is
Ooh.
actively improving and playing better together as the season wears on. What have we seen from SMU and their women's program thus far this season?
It's really crazy because actually we saw them lose to GCU, and we also saw them lose to a Big 12 team in Kansas State in a buzzer beater where the score was 44-46. I don't know the scores of the other games, but I have to be honest, 44-46. That is a pitiful, pitiful performance, and exactly the reason I don't miss Adia Barnes ball. And I'm sorry, people will call me mean names. They'll probably call me mean, and that's fine with me in this situation because frankly, you know you guys know the golden rule in life, treat others. Yeah, well, maybe someone in this equation should learn the golden rule because I like the view from the hilltop when we lost to the D2 team. Yeah, well, I like the view from a mountain when you lost from to GCU. So, shout out. It gave GCU their first win of the season, mind you. Like, it's not even just a little hee ha, oh, they got a blip win. No, you gave them their first that they you gave them Winston Gandy got his first career win over SMU. And yeah. And it's almost crazy because, I noticed, and I didn't say anything about this on Twitter, but I did notice that Sanaya Jaw wasn't on the bench anywhere when they played at GCU. And it's almost like if you repeat the same thing, the same thing will happen all over again. You cannot. I don't know what that thing that Dr. Seuss said about insanity, but I think he hit the nail on the head. You can't do the same thing all over again and expect a different outcome, my guy. So, it's unfortunate. I like Sanaya Jaw. I would have loved to see her suit up a few more times for Arizona women's basketball. To be honest, they probably win a few more games last year, even with the one-on-one ball of Sanaya Jaw. I would take it all day over not being over scoring 44 to 46 points. Yeah, I'm all set. So, I have to laugh. I love life. The picture of LeBron where he's like, "I love my life." Yeah, that's me right now. And I've joked about it all season. Becky Burke, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I don't mean this in the way it comes off, but like Becky Burke and Arizona women's basketball could genuinely lose every single game in Big 12 play, and I would still feel better about the product on the floor than what I saw last year. So they could finish 16th in the Big 12, and I genuinely would not, I won't care. I won't care. I will be so happy. And the other meme, the freed from the chains. That's how I feel right now. So it just lose all you want. As long as you score more than 44 points, I'm gonna be happy as a clam, man.
I love it, Erika. You always bring the energy on this fine podcast. Like, I mean, listen, no one's taking you down a notch because you don't want to watch 45 to 46 basketball anymore. That is classic Adia ball for all the good things Adia did for this university. And I'll play the, kind of the devil's advocate over here. I mean, like that kind of stuff was infuriating. And in fact, it was the opposite of progress. It was regression every season. And now we don't have to worry about that anymore. We do have to worry about potentially NAU getting a third straight W tonight, maybe. But I think the Cats got it.
Oh, one more. I need one more clock tick real quick. No, we not just regression year to year, regression game to game, Damon. That is my beef, and you're seeing it. If you're watching that team in Dallas, you're seeing the regression game to game. So have a hoot and a holler with that. Pony up or whatever the money I guess she might need to get some new players in there because she's gonna need them after this atrocious year that they're about to have. To their benefit, thank God the ACC isn't going to be that good of a conference this year. She needs to just count the stars in the sky and say thank you so much because they are not going to be a very good conference this year. And she might actually win a game or five, potentially, maybe. So congrats to her on that. And if you're watching this, Adia, still love you, girl. We still homies, but pony down, bro. Pony down.
I mean,
Hope y'all have a great day.
Adia Barnes is still saying bear down all the time. She can't stop saying bear down.
She does. Like we should fine her for that. Okay? If we're gonna have Casino del Sol paying the big bucks, we need to start fining people for using the name, not likeness, and image of the University of Arizona. I don't really appreciate that. So bear down to nothing, brother. How about that? You ain't bearing down to anything other than 44 points. Man, it's tough to be Erika's number one. I won't even say it. It's just tough to have Erika pitted against you. Like I can't imagine being on the other side of the pendulum from myself. I think I would genuinely run away in fear.
I mean, now imagine, you're some stupid idiot troll on Twitter who accidentally got in between what we got going on right here, Erika. Like, Erika and I are Hulk smashing Loki back and forth. People on Twitter being like, oh, you want some of this? Well, how about I pass the ball to my friend Erika? Tag in. And then, I mean, that's just business that you do not want to be a part of. But Erika, we do appreciate you classying up the place on this podcast, as people put in the chat. Maybe, given a little bit better visuals to look at than these ugly mugs right here that everybody sees on a daily basis. But appreciate you so much, Erika. Erika Lee Day on Twitter. Go follow her. No one's doing it better on social media than Erika. That is actually a damn fact. I'm not even messing around with that one.
Am I a TNT employee now? I think I am a TNT employee. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I'm too big for this establishment now, I think. I'm not sure, but
the day Erika big times us is the day that maybe I walk into Espo's office and I say, I'm hanging up the old podcasting mic.
Well, I've missed you guys. Thanks for letting me come on today and tell Justin Spears I said it was nice to meet him when he steps on this fine program here.
We will have Justin Spears here in a minute. Appreciate you, Erika. Like I said, follow Erika, and she'll keep you updated on all things Arizona women's basketball, as well as just all things Arizona Wildcats in general, because she loves her cats. But we will talk to you next week, Erika.
See ya.
Peace out. Of course, we're going to get Justin Spears in here in a second. He's been so graciously sitting here in the waiting room.
Like a green room,
just waiting. Just
we
waiting
have
on this
M&Ms in there
podcast.
for him.
Of course, but we will do that right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. So drop a like, drink some water. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, see, Damon's evolving. He's learning the drill. You got to drink your water during the ad break, and when you're done listening to the show, you got to go over to Rally House to stock up on all your Arizona Wildcats memorabilia and merchandise. I'm talking 39 pages online of Arizona memorabilia and merchandise for you to get into, dig your paws into, so to speak. And Rally House truly is the go-to spot if you need some sports merchandise or memorabilia for your favorite Valley team. Find your local Rally House location. If you're up here a little far north, you can find shop in Tempe, Mesa, Glendale as well. And if you have not checked out their online shop, make sure to do that because they have everything from apparently lug nuts to jerseys on their website. So check out Rally House, find your local location, and shop their entire assortment of products online at www.rallyhouse.com.
They have everything at Rally House. I was just there yesterday. And when you talk about like home things, the home improvement stuff, everything Arizona Wildcats branded, everything, D-backs, Cardinals, Suns, you name it. Just the cream of the crop when it comes to sports apparel and merchandise in general. But I also got to talk to you guys about our good friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because nobody is doing it better over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. I myself am a Wild Horse Pass man. There's four valleys here, or four valleys. There's one valley, and there are 4 Gila River Resorts and Casinos locations, whether it's Wild Horse Pass there in Chandler, whether it's V-Kiva, Lone Butte, or Santan Mountain. They got you covered all over different locations here in the great city of Phoenix, the great metropolitan area that we live in here. And when they say you do you, they mean it, because there are so many options to have the time of your life at a Gila River Resort and Casino, whether that's hanging out by the pool, maybe drinking a couple pina coladas. Does anything sound better than that? Maybe once the weather gets a little bit warmer again, we hit that up. But right now they got a lot of indoor activities as well, whether that's some concerts, a comedy show, you name it, inside of their event venue. They also have all of the live table games and slots, high-end dining options, a hotel to stay at. You name it, they have it, and you do you. Achieve legendary status over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Check it out for yourself. Go big and go home a winner. From upscale to approachable, casual to classy, from bar to bar none, our selection is always in good taste, and you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
Damon teased it before the break. We do have the one, the only, the Canes lover himself, Justin Spears. Welcome back. How are we doing this week, Justin?
If you like pina coladas. Man, now you got me thinking about that drink, Damon. What's going on, fellas? Happy Friday.
Fired Up Friday. We have Erika Day, and then we're backing that up with Justin Spears. Could it get more fired up than that? I do not believe.
Not sure it gets more high profile either.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we have the real heavy hitters. The stars are out and about on the AZ Wildcats podcast. And Kobe, yes, Damon will be at the game, boots on the ground, potentially boots at a tailgate. Who knows? Hitting the stanky leg. I don't know. But, hey. But yeah, Kobe, Damon will be there at the game tomorrow. I will be holding it down here in Studio K so we can do our post-game show. But Justin, I want to start talking to you about one thing and one thing only. Casino del Sol Stadium.
Oh, man.
Are you pumped? How are we feeling about the new naming rights deal for Arizona Stadium?
Yeah, I understand it's a popular topic this week, and it might be polarizing for some, right? Because for decades, people called it Arizona Stadium. Heck, I called it Arizona Stadium for decades. And people are like, okay, well, yeah, you're going to have naming rights to the stadium. Well, why partner with casino? You have the name casino in the name, Casino del Sol Stadium. And I look at it like this. Yes, you may disagree with the move, but this is also $60 million that Arizona did not have prior to this deal. They're getting $3 million annually from Casino del Sol. And again, that's $3 million that they are getting annually that they did not have. And so it's the largest total valuation in the Big 12 as far as like the per year average. ASU has the crown for that. But I think that this is a long overdue move for Arizona. I think this is needed. You need to, in the era of naming rights, you have to figure out ways to create streams of income. And this is another stream of income for Arizona's athletic department. And, it's not just, all right, Casino del Sol, you have the naming rights to Arizona Stadium. And now whenever we refer to that venue, we got to say Casino del Sol Stadium. That money that Arizona is getting, they're going to use it for football. They're going to use it to pay coaching salaries. They're going to use it for resources, upgrades to Arizona Stadium. Like it's going to be a trickle down effect. And that money that they're getting from Casino del Sol is really going to keep Arizona in that competitive category as far as some of the top schools, not just in the Big 12, but in the college landscape. So whether you like it or not, get used to it, because for the next 20 years, it'll be Casino del Sol Stadium, or as Danny Gonzalez has called it, the Soul.
And honestly, while we're on the topic of new and newness, right? Damon and I were having a discussion off air about the new tradition that Arizona is trying to start up in the student section of Casino del Sol Stadium, where I believe, what is it, at the end of the third quarter, they're going to start singing the fight song and throwing water everywhere. Are you in on that, Justin? Or do you think that the tradition's got to come more naturally? Because that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, of course, traditions come naturally, right? But if it sticks, then let's see if it sticks. I'm just actually happy that Arizona's trying to do something, right? That's something that you could definitely commend. Now, it's definitely better than what Jedd Fisch tried to do his first year, which is play that god awful Kenny Chesney song at the start of every fourth quarter. And the only reason why is because it had the lyrics Tucson in it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there are other songs that have Tucson in it. Or you could do something that's just so much better than this stupid Kenny Chesney song. With all due respect to Kenny Chesney, right? Like, Kenny Chesney is a great country artist. That guy is big time. Like, that man's good at his craft. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, be careful. He listens to the podcast. Be careful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to make sure I'm covering my bases. And I'm trying to pay my respect to Kenny Chesney and his greatness. But at the start of the fourth quarter of a Power 4 football game, come on now. I can't be listening to Happy Does by Kenny Chesney. So whether it's swag surfing, whether it's a pump-up song, whether it's singing Bear Down Arizona, I'm just happy that Arizona is trying something. And, they're trying to, hear what the fans want as far as, traditions or what they're trying to do to improve the Arizona atmosphere. And Desiree Reed-Francois, Arizona's AD, said that, here soon, whether it's next week or the week afterwards, they're going to release a, quote, feasibility survey, and they're going to reach out to fans to see, hey, what are the most important upgrades to Arizona Stadium in your opinion? Is it the video board? Is it the sound system? Is it all of the above? So they're going to figure out what they can do to improve Arizona Stadium and then make the proper adjustments. But as far as the Bear Down Arizona song, yeah, I get you, Kevin. Like, sometimes you just got to let things happen organically, but we'll see if it can stick.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say and bring up is, like, Justin, I know you are a traveled man when it comes to college football environments around the country. When you go to a place like Oregon, when they do a quote unquote tradition that they do in every single game, every person in the entire stadium is a part of it. The buy-in is insane. And at Arizona, we just haven't experienced that. I worry a little bit about, like, you has to start somewhere, right? So I don't know the right answer. I don't have all the answers. I worry a little bit about, like, is this organic? Is this happening organically? And are people going to be in on it by being told what to do, kind of like similarly to that Jedd Fisch thing? But as you said, it's Arizona trying to get more fan, stuff going inside of Casino del Sol Stadium and just trying to, get this fan base a little bit more fired up, right? Which is, I think, everything from a goal standpoint that we should be trying to do, because we know that we got it on the basketball side. Now we need to find a way to get that support consistently here in football. And a big way of doing that would be getting a W over the Baylor Bears this weekend, because they are not playing their best football right now, and they are very, very beatable. Arizona's at home. It's a senior night. You have the momentum of having a ranked W now in your back pocket from last week. Hopefully that gets the fans more excited, starts feeling like this team is actually legit at 7-3 with a ranked W. How are we feeling about this Baylor game, Justin, one day out?
Yeah, this is a tough one, because Arizona played against a Cincinnati team that was trying to figure out a way to get to the Big 12 championship game, right? That was what Cincinnati had his eyes on. Baylor, on the other hand, they know they're not going to the Big 12 championship, but they want to make sure that they go to a bowl game, because right now they are not qualified for a bowl game. They are 5-5 right now. And, you can make a case that this team has the best offense for a 5-5 football team. Like Sawyer Robertson, I mean, he's a really good quarterback, and he is very much cut from the similar cloth as Seth Diggy, Arizona's offensive coordinator. When Sawyer Robertson grew up in Lubbock, Texas, Seth Diggy mentored him or coached him a little bit. So they've got some connections. And Sawyer Robertson started his college career at Mississippi State and played for Mike Leach, the same coach that recruited Seth Davies. So they're very much cut from the same cloth. And I would imagine that this is going to be an epic quarterback battle. I mean, this guy leads the Big 12 in passing yards, and you look at the guys that he has around him. I mean, was it Josh Cameron and then Michael Trigg, the tight end, who has the most receiving yards by any tight end in the Big 12 this year, 6'4", 240 pounds. Brent Brennan gave him the comparison to Kellen Winslow, which is a really incredible comparison. Like, you're comparing this guy to a pro football Hall of Famer in Kellen Winslow. So Arizona understands, like, they've got their hands full. This offense that Baylor has is a very high-powered offense. And Arizona's defense, yes, they rank number 1 in the Big 12 in passing defense, but, they're also banged up as well. Javion Cole got banged up last week. We'll see, what his status is this week. I think that Arizona has incredible cornerbacks. I think those guys have done an exceptional job this year. Michael Dansby was put on an island several times in that game against Cincinnati, and he made some critical plays late in that game. There was a deep ball where he had a pass breakup, and if he did not get his hand on that ball and swipe it away, there was a good chance that Cincinnati was going to score on that play, and who knows what the complexion of that game looks like if they were able to score in that moment. So Michael Dansby is a guy that's, a one-year senior for Arizona who transferred from San Jose State, who's been making some critical plays. He's going to have a really good game this week. This Baylor offense is so damn good, and I think that this Arizona defense, they're going to have their work cut out for them, and they're going to have to earn this win. And Baylor, even though they don't have an athletic director, Mac Rhodes is resigned, and he has kind of stepped away from the team. It kind of feels like they're coaching for Dave Aranda's job, because Dave Aranda, he's been there since 2020. And if they don't go to a bowl game this year, in a year where they were expected to go to a bowl game and win at least 8 games, this would be the second time in 3 years that Baylor has not gone to a bowl game. So in the year of buyouts, which, by the way, has exceeded $185 million this year in college football, which is absolutely insane. Dave Aranda's contract runs out in 2029. Does Baylor look to, hit the reset button and move on from Dave Aranda if they don't go to a bowl game? But I think that the lack of AD certainly helps Baylor. But they're going to be a very desperate team. They're going to come in with all sorts of like a sense of urgency, and they're going to make this game a really big time challenge for Arizona. And Brent Brennan said it: every single game in the Big 12 is a fist fight. He said that Cincinnati offense was the best offense that they had faced up to date. And then after the Cincinnati game ended, he said he went on the plane, watched the Baylor tape, and was like, well, damn, this offense is better. Like, they have weapons all over the place, and they're much better as far as their aerial attack goes. So it's going to be a big test for Arizona. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, certainly isn't. Justin, you mentioned like the idea of Dave Aranda potentially, being fired if he loses these last 2 games of the season. 2 very losable games, Arizona and Houston. Baylor's president, I believe, did come out today and in similar fashion to how DRF did in Brent Brennan's favor at the end of last season, to tell the fan base that Dave Aranda will be returning for next season. And the difference being, DRF did that after the season at Arizona. Baylor's doing it when they got 2 games left to play. I don't know if that exactly bodes well, but we do have a statement here. Our team respects and loves playing for Coach Aranda. I can also attest that he aligns with Baylor's Christian message and is an incredible ambassador for our university. That's via Linda Livingstone, the president of Baylor University.
Just in, Damon. Sorry. Dave Aranda, breaking. The only coach that aligns with their Christian mission. No one else fits the bar. I just wanted to put that out there, as if you could not find anyone else.
Well, they also
fits that mission, right? It's not. It can't be that hard.
In this statement, they cited particular reasons as to why Dave Aranda will be coming back. In here it says Baylor expects excellence, accountability, and competitiveness. We are not complacent. We are not settling for mediocrity. And this decision reflects several critical factors: stability during transition. Stability essentially when they hire a new athletic director, they want a football coach in place, which I actually think is kind of a little bit odd. I won't lie. Student athlete experience, in terms of retaining the current roster so that there's not a bunch of transfers out the door. And then financial stewardship, which I guess refers to NIL revenue sharing. And this keeps them from paying a buyout. They put in the statement that they will now not be paying a buyout, and they can use this money on retaining their roster and using finances to help their football program. Not exactly the most, fired up of statements here. If I'm a Baylor fan reading this, being like, yeah, let's go. This is our program's in such a great spot. Any thoughts on all of that, Justin?
Yeah, it's not a ringing endorsement, right? But it also screams like, hey, just so you know, we're aware of this mess. And you better get your sugar honey iced tea together, Dave Aranda, because once we get a new athletic director in place, who knows what this AD wants, right? And they could, whoever it is, end up making a bunch of changes when it's all said and done. I think that Dave Aranda, who, by the way, looks like he could be related to my co-host on Spears and Ali Farhang. He looks like a long-lost Farhang brother. Like, look up Ali Farhang and then look up Dave Aranda and, like, tell me that's not a Farhang brother. But Dave's a good defensive coach. And come to find out, he's actually got some ties to Brent Brennan. When Brent Brennan was going through the coaching ranks in the early stages of his career, he interviewed for a job at Cal Lutheran, which is like a Division II or Division III school. And Dave Aranda was a linebackers coach then and was actually a part of like the interview process. And since then, Dave Aranda and Brent Brennan, they've maintained contact over the years. They have a great just respect for each other. But with that being said, Dave Aranda, if you look at Baylor, I mean, missing out on a bowl game twice in 3 years, and you've been there, since 2020. He just signed a contract extension in 2022. And that's why I said, I think that this whole, athletic director situation, I think this really helps Dave Aranda, at least for the next year. And then, if he comes back next year and Baylor misses out on a bowl game again, or it looks like it's going to be another rocky season, then I'll think they move on from Dave Aranda.
Baber's the answer to Baylor's problems. That's what people in the chat are wondering.
Well, it's not offense that's an issue for Baylor.
Babers knows how to stop an offense about better than anybody, Justin. So I'm gonna stop you right there. But yeah, well, listen, we're gonna get into more of the schematics of this game, strengths and weaknesses of Baylor's team, but we'll do that right after our final break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
And during this final break, I want to talk to you about our friends over at the husband and wife law team.
It's like Ohio State.
It is like Ohio State. And how did Ohio State get that? By being prestigious on the field, by winning on the field in their level of competition. Well, what the husband and wife law team do is they win in the courtroom. They go to trial and they win. That's how you become the husband and wife law team. And the prestigiousness, I don't know if that's a word, but it does not end there, because I don't know if you know this. I try to tell you all the time, but if you really aren't listening, in Arizona, the state bar has certified less than 1% of all lawyers as specialists in injury and wrongful death litigation. So if you have been involved in a serious injury or wrongful death type of suit, why would you not go to the husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer, who are specialized in injury and wrongful death litigation? They actually go to trial, and the practice is 100% dedicated to injury and wrongful death. So if you have had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team at, write this number down, folks. I'm telling you every day, write this number down. 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our show notes below. Let them know the Wildcats boys over at PHNX sent you.
Let them know, and let them know about our friends over at Arizona Lottery, who, if you guys are not aware, are just going absolutely crazy this holiday season, because 'tis the season to gift, Kevin. Holiday scratchers with our friends over at Arizona Lottery. Love the play, with over $80 million in prizes available to you. All different types of thresholds for buying in and what the jackpot prize would be. Something for everybody, right? They got $1 scratchers, $2 scratchers, $10 scratchers, $100 scratchers, like you name it.
Bang.
Arizona Lottery has it. One good place to go buy Arizona Lottery scratchers is with our friends at Circle K. They have kiosks lined up inside of Circle K's, and there is no better holiday stocking stuffer than a actual physical scratcher that you get to just go to town on in person, Kevin. There's nothing like it. Grab one of those coins and just start, what do you even call that? Scratching?
Scratching away.
Yeah, scratching away, man.
Etching away.
I mean, they are called scratchers. I guess that was right in front of my face. But what I need right in front of my face is some gifts from people that care about me, because if they care about me, they're giving me some scratchers, damn it. They all know how much I love them. Love the place. Red Holiday Cheer with holiday scratchers from Arizona Lottery. So, guys, got to get in on that. Kevin, our relationship might be severely severed if you don't get me any scratchers for Christmas.
Likewise, Damon. Likewise.
We just gift each other the exact same present. Here, I got you something. Oh, I got you the exact same thing. But when it's holiday scratchers, it is that important. Love the play. Spread holiday cheer. Play and gift today.
Welcome back, Justin Spears. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure to leave a like on this here show. Shout out to Kobe. Hope everything is okay. Make sure to call the husband and wife law team if you do need a lawyer, because they're some of the best in the game. Also, shout out to Sam Albert. Shout out to Max, Andy, Deborah, the real pigeon, even though you are late, so I will not be handing out any breadcrumbs because you're not deserving. You're not a deserving bird today. But, Justin, we do have Arizona versus Baylor to discuss. And I think where I wanted to, really pick your brain on today was the running game for Arizona on the offensive side of things versus Baylor's porous rushing defense, right? I believe that all but one of Baylor's opponents this year have scored 27 points or higher against them. Do you feel like this could be a big day for Arizona's offense, and do you think it could be kickstarted by the running back room?
I think, as a matter of fact, the thing that Arizona is going to try to do, at least in my opinion, is I think they want to own time of possession. And I think those three running backs, they're all healthy, which is a really good thing at this point of the year. The fact that you could say that your three running backs are healthy and they're playing exceptional. Like, if you look at the last 3 games of the season, it seems like Arizona has had like their own different story with their running backs. Like that game against Kansas, right? It was Quincy Craig who stepped up with his key touchdowns. And then you look at that game against Cincinnati, and Ismail Mahdi had that tone-setting touchdown to start the game to put Arizona up 7-0. And then Kedrick Reesano had that 50-yard touchdown to cap that 99-yard drive. And quietly, Arizona has rushed for over 160 yards in 3 straight games. I think those guys get going. I think Seth Doege finds a way to get all 3 of those running backs, get them running effectively. And I think that, while it is nice to see Noah Fifita throw the ball and see Arizona's high-powered offense with all those wide receivers, Chris Hudson now leads the team in receiving yards this year. Javen Watley has held that crown pretty much all season long. But, man, look out for Chris Hudson. This guy is really he looked really impressive last week against Cincinnati. Probably had his best game as an Arizona Wildcat. But I think Ismail Mahdi, Kedrick Reesano, Quincy Craig, I think this week, this is their game, and I expect Arizona to have their best rushing performance of the season.
That's good insight there, Justin. And obviously, I think the recipe for beating this Baylor team is by essentially outscoring them, right? Because we know that they're probably going to put points up on the board. Their floor for points, I was looking at it, like in their losses, they definitely skew more in the 20s, and in their wins, they skew more in like the 40s. So it could be a big key of importance here to potentially keep them under like 5 touchdowns, 30 points here. I think could go a long way in terms of what Arizona's trying to accomplish. But Arizona's a much more balanced football team than what Baylor is, right? Like Baylor has the offense to go toe-to-toe with Arizona, but I don't think they have the defense at all. And Arizona's offense has somewhat, struggled at certain times this season, but for the large majority of the season has been fairly effective. Not as good as the defense, but fairly effective. Now, we look at the strengths of these teams, and you have this Baylor passing offense versus this Arizona passing defense.
Yeah.
What do we see in terms of that matchup? And how does Arizona, win the good-on-good battle there between these two teams?
Yeah, my colleague Michael Lev pointed this out in his latest edition of Cat Stats. Arizona's passing defense last year was ranked, I think, like 103rd in college football. Or it's either 103rd or 113th, if I'm not mistaken. And now all of a sudden they're all the way up to number 7. Like they have a top 10 passing defense. Like think about that jump that they have made. And it all goes back to the heart and soul of their defense, which is the defensive backs that they have. Dalton Johnson is on pace to lead the team in tackles once again. A safety is going to lead Arizona in tackles 2 years in a row. And I know last year his role kind of turned into more of a linebacker role, but I mean, I can't remember the last time a safety led Arizona in tackles 2 years in a row. Like you got to go back to like the Darrell Brooks days, right, in the mid 2000s when he played for Mike Stoops. So Dalton Johnson is a great player. Treydon Stukes is a great player. And I think those two guys alone are the reasons why Arizona fans should show out to this game on Saturday. I think that those two guys, if you think about their college journey, Treydon Stukes started in 2020 during a global pandemic and was a walk-on and went through that season under Kevin Sumlin and actually played for Kevin Sumlin. Like Dalton Johnson was recruited by that regime. Treydon Stukes actually played for Kevin Sumlin. And so Dalton Johnson, Treydon Stukes, those guys are the last two Kevin Sumlin era guys. But Stukes ended up becoming a scholarship player and then went through, think about this, the NIL era, the transfer portal era, revenue share. Like Treydon Stukes went through everything that you could go through in college at the time. And then him and Dalton Johnson have been right there every step of the way for Arizona. And now they contemplated going somewhere else after last year. They went to the transfer portal, but they decided that, what makes us so great is everything that we did here. And they decided to stay here and play at Arizona. And in the era of the transfer portal, I mean, think about this. They're the only two guys that Arizona's honoring on Saturday, like the seniors, that actually started their careers at Arizona, played multiple years, and finished at Arizona. A lot of these other guys are transfer portal players. And so those two are really the last of a dying breed. And if you think about what those guys went through for the last 5 or 6 years, they're Arizona lifers and they're great players. And I think that those guys should definitely be celebrated on Saturday. And if there's anybody who deserves to see a sold out stadium, it's Treydon Stukes, because you know what? The first time he got into a game for Arizona, there was a bunch of cardboard cutouts in the stadium because it was during a global pandemic. Now this is his last go around at the venue formerly known as Arizona Stadium. I think he deserves to see a packed house this weekend in Tucson. But
I think,
to answer your question, good on good. I mean, this is as good as it gets, man. I mean, Baylor they have 4 pass catchers that are in the top 25 of receiving yards in the Big 12. This is the biggest test that Arizona's passing defense has faced all year long, and they're desperate. They're playing hungry because they want to get to a bowl game. They've only got 2 opportunities to get to a bowl game, this week and then next week against Houston. So I expect this Baylor team to be at their best this Saturday.
Absolutely. I think there's no doubt about that. They're going to be playing like it's the Super Bowl, right? Because they don't want to go into a season-defining game against a good Houston team next week and have to need to win to keep their season alive. I think that they're going to give everything in this game and really, kind of unload the clip, if you will. But
wait, one more thing, guys. I just now thought about this when I was talking about Stukes and Dalton Johnson. It's conceivable that Arizona wins out this year and they get to 10 wins. Think about this. They could be a part of 2 Arizona teams that won 10 games, which has only happened 5 times in program history. And in the same career, they endured a 20-game losing streak. Think about the highs of the highs and the lowest of lows if they're able to win out this year. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you highlight their only 5 double-digit win seasons, so I'm not going to sit here and say that the Arizona football highs are that of the pinnacle of the sport, but there is almost no football program that has been more volatile in terms of up, down, up, down, up, down than Arizona, it feels like, in the last, few decades here, where the lows are really damn low. But there are some good years in between there, and you gotta love it for guys like that who have done nothing but stick it out, enter the transfer portal, decide that they couldn't leave this university because it means too much to them. I think, I want to be there at this game on Saturday, in part because, I want to support this team in a season that has, been really surprising, I think, for a lot of Arizona fans. But you're right on the money, Justin, in terms of just saying, like, if anyone deserves support, it's these two dudes in particular. Trayden Stukes, Dalton Johnson gave everything to this program, and let's pack the soul for these boys. Let's do it.
Yep. Yeah, man. Dalton Johnson, the last member of that 2021 recruiting class, still standing at Arizona. And Trayden Stukes, actually played for Kevin Sumlin right there. I mean, all the coaching transitions. Think about this. Trayden Stukes, his defensive coordinators at Arizona include Paul Rhodes in 2020. Then it went to Don Brown. Then it went to Johnny Nansen. And then it went to Dwayne Aquina. And then it went to Danny Gonzalez. And Dalton Johnson had all those guys minus Paul Rhodes in 2020. All those defensive coordinators, all those different coaches, they've been through multiple coaching transitions. And I think it was Pigeon who said in the comments, like, those guys could be a part of 2 10-win seasons under 2 different coaches. Just absolutely insane, man. Absolutely insane. And so those guys are Arizona lifers. We're not going to sit here and say, like, oh, they deserve statues, right? There's anybody on this team that deserves a statue, it's maybe Noah Fifita. But I think that 5-6 years at one stop when they've had multiple chances to leave in the era where it's like it's so easy to just get up and go somewhere else. This is the last of a dying breed. And then next year when Noah Fifita has a senior day, after him, it's going to be like, okay, who's the next guy that's staying here for 4 or 5 years and carving out an illustrious career like that?
Oscar Rios.
Oscar Rios, there you go. So just enjoy it while you can, because in this era of college athletics, you never know. But, like Brent Brennan said, whether they are here for 1 year or whether they're here for 6 years, they all chose Arizona, right? Those guys like the Ismail Mahdi's and the Chris Hudsons and the Ty Buchanans and Tristan Bounds of the world, Max Harris, they all chose Arizona when Arizona was 4-8, and things were looking pretty bad for the Wildcats. And Arizona also took a chance on these guys, and it was a perfect marriage. It turned out to be a perfect recipe for success, and it's really set up Arizona nicely for many years to come.
Justin, we did – oh, go ahead, Damon. No, you're good. I was going to say, your time on this show, you're talking about enjoy the Arizona football while it's fleeting, but I want to enjoy Justin Spears' weekly segment while it is here, because it is just as fleeting. And we're already at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I wanted to ask you this. Right, I'm sure Damon has a couple more in the hopper, but I wanted to definitively get it out the way. Score prediction for tomorrow. Senior day. We're honoring a lot of the seniors. Baylor's up against the wall. Something's got to give. Where are you going tomorrow afternoon, I guess, with this score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Arizona to win. I think they put up 38 points. Now, I'm not going with the Fetty Wap score. I'm not going to say that Baylor's going to have 17 on the other side. So I'm going to go with Baylor to lose to Arizona. I got the Wildcats winning 38-31. And last time I checked, the spread is 7 points, right on the nose. So Vegas knows something. Arizona hits it right on the nose, and they win by a tutty.
I love it, and I love that spread as well. It's been a minute, I feel like, since Arizona, especially because this run of games has been against such consistently decent teams, minus maybe Colorado, who we were on the road for, so it was still kind of a smaller spread. But that's like the first game that has been a little bit bigger towards like the touchdown size in a minute here, is it not? Like, a lot of these spreads have been 5.5, 3.5, 4.5 for like 6 games in a row. Pretty big spread for a Big 12 football game, which is crazy to say, because in the Big 10, the average spread is probably about 32.5 points, because half the conference is dog water, and the Big 12 actually has like competitive football that gets played on a weekly basis. But I did want to ask you, Justin, because you are the de facto expert here in terms of Arizona football history. Have any players ever been a part of two double-digit win teams before? Like, is that happened within 4 years of each other? No, right?
No, because
93 and 98 is 5.
Yeah, and then it happened again in 2014, and then it hasn't happened until 2023. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, Traden Stukes and Dalton Johnson, they have a chance to really make history. Now, in order to get to that point, you got to win on Saturday.
For sure.
And then you got to win the Territorial Cup, and then you got to win that bowl game. So Arizona still has their work cut out for them. But, I mean, it's all on the table right there. If you win out 2 to 10 win seasons in 3 years, 2 different coaches, which is crazy to think that because, Arizona went 4-8 last year, and the expectation was, 6 wins, and Arizona fans will be happy. And then they got to 6 wins, and many people thought, they're going to do that typical Arizona thing where they just kind of coast to the finish line. They might go 7-5. See you guys in El Paso for the Sun Bowl. Now it's like, well, hold on now. Maybe Alamo Bowl? I don't know. Like you got to think big here.
Pop-Tart?
So that Pop-Tarts Bowl, I think they might still they might just fall with the Pac-12 schools. Like if you look at like a lot of like the bowl predictions or the bowl projections, it's like Alamo Bowl, LA Bowl, Holiday Bowl. I think the Holiday Bowl would be awesome, right? Go spend some time in San Diego. If you can play if you can play a football game within a 6 to 8 hour driving distance from Tucson, I think that's the goal. So I would love to see Arizona maybe go to the Holiday Bowl. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That would be really, really cool. But last question, just in regard to the, winning out situation scenario here. One of your like kind of semi colleagues, maybe you'll push back on that and say like full colleague, but John Wilner, who does work for the Arizona Daily Star, speculated that potentially maybe UCLA could come calling and sniffing around for Brent Brennan if things go well at the end of the season here for Arizona. To what does Mr. Justin Spears say to that?
It's certainly an exciting conversation, no? Like, man, Brent Brennan getting a phone call because he's done such a great job. Like, think about that. Arizona fans, like, your coach is wanted, right? But, the one thing that's different about Brent Brennan is that he's got everything he needs right here in Tucson, Arizona. Like, I'm sure he will take that phone call. He will allow them to finish their sentence. And then he's going to say, thank you, but no thank you. I've got everything I need right here in Tucson, Arizona. And Brent will be the first one to tell you that it's hard. It's really hard to win at a place like UCLA. It really is. Being in that market, being with, having their resources and their support as well, that's just a really difficult job. And you're also in the Big 12 too, or it should be in the Big 10. So it's hard to win in that conference. I just think that UCLA, if there's anybody with Arizona ties that's going to become the next head coach of the Bruins, it's the man that's currently coaching the Washington Huskies. And it could be because, Jed really loves Los Angeles and he loves the challenge, right? Like Jed Fish took on the challenge of being a first-year head coach and building up Arizona and pouring a lot of money into the Lowell Stevens football facility. Jed Fish did a really good job as far as fundraising. A lot of the upgrades that were made in the Lowell Stevens football facility, like Jed raised it all by himself, using his connections through the NFL and the people that he knows. I'm sure, he could, really do a nice job as far as fundraising at a place like UCLA and being like, you know what? Nobody wants this job because of how difficult it is. I can take this job. And so I would say probably Jed Fish would be the guy that used to coach Arizona or the guy that has Arizona ties that would end up coaching UCLA. But no way in hell is Brent Brennan going to be leaving Arizona to go be coaching UCLA. No way.
My God, do we need Jed Fish to UCLA like we need oxygen to breathe? I mean, there's a party on my timeline, and we are having more fun than we've ever had as Arizona football fans, probably.
Well, and what's so funny about that is like, I think about whether he goes to UCLA or whether if he goes to Florida or, if he goes to the NFL, I just will never forget that time. And by the way, let's be real here. Like Jed Fish did a fantastic job here at Arizona. I mean, what he did turning around the program, getting them from being a doormat and one of the worst teams at the Power 4 level into, winning 10 games and winning the Alamo Bowl. Like what Jedd Fisch did here was truly remarkable, and he should always be respected for that. But like, I just will never forget when he first took the Washington job and he went to the basketball game and he did the whole LeBron, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. And he said, like, we're going to be here for the next 7 years and we're going to be bringing you championships. And I was like, 7 years, that's a long commitment, Jed. Are you sure you're ready to commit to that? And if he's out after 2 years, I'm just going to go back to that clip and just think about that. Like LeBron promising the 6 championships, but only delivered 2.
It would be much like that. And as Sam says here in the chat, that would be as sweet as Sam Levitt transferring out of ASU. Those are, I think that's like Damon's 2 Super Bowls right there. Like
but Damon, his brother said it's fake news. So why are we even talking about it?
Did you have any thoughts on that situation, Justin?
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird one with Pete Nakos, who is a reputable reporter, just sent a message out essentially saying he was going to come out with a report. And then in the text message back that was sent from Dallin Levitt, I believe is his name, he said essentially that they are undecided, which would imply that they are, in fact, discussing with other teams Sam Levitt's future. Did you think that was a weird one?
He's still deciding what he wants to do. Like, that's what he said. And they're like, it's not true. He's still deciding what he wants to do. And it's like, but I thought he was locked into ASU. Like,
it's the middle of the season.
Yeah. That's just a very weird message. And here's my view on this. Now that it's all out there that these guys are getting paid, I know a guy who wants to leverage a situation to get more money when I see it. And this is maybe Sam Levitt saying, "Oh, I might go. I've got some clout. I've got some buzz. I'm sure a lot of programs down in the SEC would love to have me. Maybe you pay up a little bit because I don't know what Sam Levitt's pro status is going to look like when he decides to go to the NFL. So maybe this is his way of like, hey, I'm injured. Maybe this is my way of getting a few extra ducats for my last year of playing college football. So maybe he's trying to leverage his stock into getting some more money from ASU, or maybe this is legit and he's like seriously thinking about leaving the program. And people are going to sit there and be like, "Oh, well, Kenny Dillingham, he might go and he might take Sam Levitt with him wherever he goes." I'm not going to have this reckless speculation, but it is interesting the fact that his brother didn't really deny it and just said that he's still thinking about it, which says a lot considering Sam Levitt's the face of the franchise. It's not like we're sitting here like, man, Jeff Sims, ooh, man, look out, he's going to take his job. Or like, there's not like this highly rated recruit that's committed to ASU right now where you're like, oh man, look out, Sam Levitt's job's in jeopardy right now. Like Sam Levitt, as long as he's there and has eligibility, he is the starting quarterback of ASU. So there's definitely some smoke around this situation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I know Tennessee was calling in the offseason with the Nico situation. And Sam's response essentially was like, I'm never leaving ASU, never freaking leaving. And then less than a calendar year later is leveraging his position to get more money potentially, or to find greener pastures elsewhere. It remains to be seen, but it's going to be an interesting topic to, track all offseason long. Granted, it's the middle of the season and we're talking about it. So that alone to me speaks volumes of where Sam Levitt's head is at as well. And as Kobe says, I agree here in the chat. I don't think his pro potential as it currently stands is very much of anything at all. I think he's definitely going to be finding himself back here in college next season. So it'll be interesting. James Franklin, UCLA with Jedd Fisch, as somebody put up here in the chat. Like, who knows? There's all sorts of options open, including going back to ASU. But just wanted to get your kind of reporter thoughts on that, Justin, because that was kind of just an odd scenario we had in place. We appreciate you, Justin Spears, for always hopping on this podcast and giving us your insight in lead up to Arizona's football game with, of course, the Baylor Bears this weekend. Going to be a big one here in Tucson, the last home game of the season, the first home game at Casino del Sol Stadium.
Pack the Soul.
Hashtag Pack the Soul. I will be there. I encourage everyone else to do so as well. Did you have anything else before we got out of here, Justin?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the first game as the newly named Casino del Sol Stadium. It doesn't erase the nearly 100 years that happened inside those walls, right? Like, that'll always be Arizona Stadium. Do you guys remember your first game at Arizona Stadium? My first game was, so I'm a little bit on the younger side. Unfortunately, I missed the Dick Tomey era. So I'm sorry. Like, that was the golden era of Arizona football. But I do remember my first game being Arizona homecoming against UCLA. It was Willie Tuitama's first home start as a Wildcat. UCLA, top 10 in the country. They had a really good running back by the name of Maurice Drew, who later changed his name to Maurice Jones-Drew and played in the NFL.
Heard of him?
And Arizona completely shut him down, man. They won 52-14. I'll never forget just the feeling of the electricity in that stadium when Arizona just waxed UCLA. And that's my first game that I went to at Arizona State. I'm curious to hear what your guys' first game is.
Man, I would need to probably hit up the rents on that one because I think I was probably in like preschool, like probably about like 4. Definitely a Mike Stoops game. As well as you, Justin. So I'm guessing it's somewhere in that like 2005-ish range, 2006-ish range.
Yeah. There's a lot of great games. There was a Jay-Z concert there. There's been a lot of graduations, basketball celebrations. Like, I remember the women's basketball team when they almost won the national championship and they came back and everybody was masked up wearing, masks because it was during a global pandemic. The 1997 national championship team had their parade and celebration there. So a lot of great memories inside the walls of Arizona Stadium. That does not go away. But now we're on to a new era of this book called Casino del Sol Stadium, a.k.a. the Soul.
I think my first game would have been Hawaii in 2019. I think that would have been my freshman year, I believe. So
but that was at Hawaii.
True.
So it would have been next
NAU.
week. Yeah.
It would have been NAU. Yeah. Some really bad football those years, not going to lie. Like, I don't know. Like, Justin asked what my first memory of Arizona Stadium was, and as like a transplant who didn't have the opportunity like Damon, the fortune to the opportunity to like go watch Arizona football for many years prior to going to the school, I got there and it's Kevin Sumlin ball year 2.
Just an abusive relationship.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen, and I'm going to the games just to go, and I'm like, this is what I'm watching right now. And then I'm walking through Cherry Garage, and there's Kevin Sumlin's big ass car, and I'm just like, all right. This is what we got going on. This is really what we're doing.
We all need shirts that say, I survived the Kevin Sumlin era.
# survived Sumlin. The Hulu documentary coming soon.
Survive the Sumlin. Oh, that's man. Great. I also Sam's game that first game he remembers, kind of along the lines for me, I would say as well, like the kind of the Nick Foles era. When I really started to like truly buy into Arizona football and knowing every single player on the entire team, that Iowa game was special. And I'm also remembering vivid memories of me being like 5 years old at like ASU U of A and like ASU beating us and then them chanting ASU inside of Arizona Stadium and then me chanting sucks afterwards, which I'm sure shocked everybody that 5-year-old Damon was already on the far end of the spectrum towards his hatred towards ASU. But what an absolutely fun ride it's been at Arizona Stadium. Despite some of the lows, a lot of highs as well. But as you said, Justin, it changes nothing. And I actually think here's what I will say, and we can round it out on this. This is not Mountain America Stadium, some like made up like AI fake video game sounding crap. This is a sponsor that has been associated with Arizona football and Arizona athletics for a very long time, has shown support in the community for a very long time, and is synonymous with this community. It is not the official credit union sponsor of BYU athletics that we're allowing to be our stadium sponsor. So I think that from that standpoint, we can hang our hat on that and say, you know what, we found something local. We found something that is associated with Arizona football. And, that in and of itself is important.
Absolutely. and they've been connected to Arizona athletics for a long time. If you look at all, McHale Center, they've got a lot of signage of Casino del Sol, and they are one of the premier entertainment districts in Southern Arizona. Think about all the great concerts that they get. Think about all the great comedy shows and all that. And when I was at the Casino del Sol Stadium press conference earlier in the week, they had their CEO there, and she said, yeah, we're definitely looking at working with the University of Arizona into bringing things outside of just football. Because if you think about it, how many events are there throughout the year? Like 8, 9, because you've got football games, and then you've got the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, and then you've got graduation. And you might have the occasional high school state championship if it has like 2 Tucson teams in it.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it doesn't really get used throughout the year, and that's a big venue. And if you fix the sound system, you can have some concerts in that stadium. And people are surprised, like, wait, Jay-Z performed there? It's like, yeah, but the sound system sucked, and his mic kept going out, and it was just a bad production. And Arizona hasn't had a concert in there since then. But yeah, if you can get a guy like Jay-Z to come down to Tucson and perform, like, why not get bigger artists to play in a stadium, pack the house, and get more money, get more people into Arizona Stadium? So I think it's going to be a really good collaboration. And I think, over time, people are going to, I think they're really going to appreciate it. And, think about it like this, guys. They're paying Arizona that $60 million over 20 years. They got to get that money somehow. So if you go to Casino del Sol and you walk out a loser, you're like, I'm broke,
funding the football program.
I'm helping pay for no Fifita, so it's all good.
My buddy actually texted me that the day of and said, "Feels pretty good. Feels like I contributed to something." Which, of course, if you've spent a night at Casino del Sol, I'm sure you could say the same. But
leaving the Nino empty-handed, but man, gotta support the Wildcats, man.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Justin Spears, as always, for your insight in lead up to another football game. Hopefully another W, and hopefully we're talking about Arizona potentially getting to 9-3 against the vaunted, hated Sun Devils next week. We'll talk about that when we get there. Let's get a Baylor W in the process. Follow Justin at Justin E Sports on Twitter, and we will talk to you next week, Justin.
See you guys. Always appreciate you.
Shout out our boy Justin Spears. And Kevin, I did have one more thing I sent in our Slack, if you wouldn't mind grabbing that for us before we get out of here, because I do want to shout out my guy here. What a cool little thing. I'm sure that this fired my co-host Kevin Thomas up a little bit here. Pigeon pointed it out to us, so shout out Pigeon. But Arizona basketball posted a kind of like a tweet deck sort of edit here with Jaden Bradley, just talking about how good Jaden Bradley is. And right there at the bottom right, PHNX Wildcats, Jaden Bradley equals him, fire emoji. And Kevin Thomas, Jaden Bradley against top 15 opponents this season, list the stats. Shout out Kevin. That's
shout out
sick,
us,
man.
Shout out this podcast.
Shout out us. Shout out PHNX Wildcats account. Follow it, PHNX_Wildcats, AZ Wildcats pod. But that's pretty cool, man.
No, yeah, it's very dope. It is very dope. Shout out to Arizona men's basketball. And I hope Jaden Bradley keeps killing. You know what I mean? Also, Kobe. Why didn't Kobe make it?
Upset of the century, Kobe's not on it.
Where's Kobe? Where's Burry's Muse? You know what I mean? Where are some of the heavy hitters? Max, I'm not going to forget about you. How could I do that? It's just a tweet. 'Tis just a tweet. And this was just a podcast. It's been a very good week of shows. We do have pregame, postgame tomorrow for Arizona versus Baylor.
So right, Max.
Yeah, whatever. But we do have pregame and postgame tomorrow for Arizona versus Baylor, and I am pumped about that. We got some Saturday early afternoon / morning football with the Arizona Wildcats, and Damon will be boots on the ground in Tucson for that one, tailgating it up, partying it up. I'm excited to have Damon on the show tomorrow. It should be a fun time.
Yeah, it should absolutely be fun. Yes, today's podcast was real because Erika joined on from the beginning, which means that we are, in fact, live and going. But That's the barometer, Sam. Whether or not Erika is here, and when she gets here, that's when the podcast starts. But the podcast will continue all day long tomorrow when we do our pregame coverage 30 minutes prior to kickoff. Make sure that you guys are here for that one, as well as our postgame coverage, which will be about 15 minutes probably after the clock hits 0. I'm going to try to hit up the powers that be with the Arizona Athletic Department and see if I can get on that field for this game here, for this post-game show. But thank you so much to everybody watching. If you guys are going to be out there at Casino del Sol Stadium tomorrow, hit me up. I'd love to, meet people, hang out with people that I already know. Gonna try to go to some tailgates potentially, so feel free to pop in the DMs and let's talk some logistics here.
Mingle.
Let's talk some mingling logistics in the DMs. But appreciate everybody for being here for this show. The support all week long has been fantastic. It's been immense. Kevin and I can't do it without the people here in the chat that make it so fun to talk ball with every single day. All the staples were here today, Kevin, whether it's Kobe, Max, Pigeon, Sam, Deborah, Connor, Andy, just everybody. Everybody who's anybody was here in the chat today. That's a fact. Need down. Shout out all the dogs. Roof. For being here today. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Follow him at Kevo Posts. So you can see his tweets before they get put on Arizona basketball graphics, and follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media. Shout out everybody for being here. Shout out my guy Kevin for a good hard work week of work, I should say. And shout out Justin Spears and Erika Day for guesting on today's pod. We appreciate them so much. We appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you tomorrow on an Arizona Wildcats versus Baylor pregame show. Appreciate everybody. Peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Becky Burke, do what Adia could not do.
We all silly like the mayor.